The Calgary, Alberta area was completely flooded, a storm that no one expected.
Absolutely raging river. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
The sound and was just, terrifying.
I tried to help as many people out, and I tried to get my employees out, but I couldn't get them out.
I think the force of the water coming in when that door blew out was just like a whirlpool and just devastated everything.
This is a different story than ones we usually tell. There's no bad contractor, home inspector, not even a bad builder. This is about Mother Nature. This story focuses on one family's experience in one of the biggest natural disasters in Canadian history.
The actual event of the flood, the door breaking in, just all the sounds, the smells, just the initial shock of, my instant thought is we've just lost our house.
Calgary has ordered the entire downtown area to be evacuated.
More than 14,000 homes damaged, over 100,000 people displaced in a surprise freak rainstorm. The town of High River was one of the hardest hit areas. The water was this high on this street, damaging every single house on this street. In this area is 17 acres of housing, approximately 150 homes just here. And the water in the backyard, this high, went for miles.
The water pressure was so great, it actually blew the doors off of homes.
The water broke the door and the water rushed in like a tsunami.
I lost everything. Everything I have is gone.
Gillian.
Hello.
Nice to see you again. How are you? John?
Good.
Nice to meet you, Mike. How are you? Good. John and Gillian and their daughters, Cassidy and Jordan, live in High River. After receiving thousands, and I mean thousands of emails, how can I help everyone at once? By filming one family and telling the story of what happened, what you need to do to follow protocol, and teach everyone else out there what they need to know, how to clean up, how to make sure there's no moisture, how to put it all back together again, and how not to let this happen again. The stormwater management pond behind John and Gillian's house was designed as a safety measure to hold back rising rainwater until it can drain into city storm sewers.
I noticed that the pond was starting to bubble a bit, and then it actually started to geyser up out of the pond, and then I became very concerned.
In our house, both our rooms are down in the basement.
And by then we knew that our house was probably gonna get a little bit of water in the basement, so we started moving our stuff.
What they didn't know was that a few kilometers upriver in the Rocky Mountains, the perfect storm was in progress. A huge amount of melting snow suddenly combined with two storm systems to send massive amounts of water racing down mountain rivers. The water moved at 5 to 10 times its normal speed towards Calgary and downriver towns. The overflowing rivers flooded storm sewers and sent water backwards through the sewers, swamping cities and stormwater ponds.
So then I was really concerned.
And then we started moving stuff onto the tops of our closet because we were expecting some more water. And then eventually we just needed to get out of the basement because by then the water was rising on our windows.
So I told them, I said, nobody downstairs anymore, because I had a feeling that the windows were gonna probably give, or it was gonna be dangerous. Probably 5 minutes after that, the sliding glass door actually blew in, and our basement was full of water, probably about 8 feet in about a minute.
It was extremely loud, and it scared me so bad.
It sounded like the house was collapsing and just everything was breaking and the water rushing in, and an instant smell of just mud. It was just amazing.
Yeah. I was terrified.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and said, shouldn't we be leaving now? And at this point, I knew that the bridge had washed out, and I realized that we couldn't leave. So I had to look at my kids in the eye and tell them, We can't leave, we can't get out of our neighborhood right now, and we're probably going to be safer to stay in the house for now. So I told them, you know, if the water comes in and gets deep, we're going to stay upstairs, and if it starts to get to the main floor, we'll get on the kitchen island, and if it's going to get deeper than that, we'll get on the roof. We'll do whatever it takes, but it's pretty hard to look at your kids in the eye and tell them that, you know, there's danger approaching and we can't leave.
Meanwhile, John, who was a constable with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, was out of town and unaware of the flash flood.
On that morning of the flood, I was in Edmonton, about 4 hours away. I was on course. Joe was sending me texts that the pond water was coming up, and I can remember texting back, well, you know, that's okay, because it's got to come up a long ways. And it was very shortly after that she texted me that the house was going to be gone, and that was that. I was there with another member from High River. So we left Edmonton, left the course, and it's about a 4-hour drive. We had very little information, so we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know where our families were. The networks were so overloaded, the cell phone networks, they had all dropped. So we were, you know, completely in the dark.
As communications began to clear up, John heard about the devastation that was everywhere. Gillian had managed to get a text through that she and the girls were okay. So John went right to work, joining the rescue teams that were evacuating people by any means possible. But in John and Gillian's neighborhood, there was no way out but to walk.
Some of the people from the town were helping in the subdivision, and they came and got us and said, you know, we've got most people at the end of the neighborhood, and we'd like to get you there. We're trying to get everybody together and keep everybody safe.
We had to leave the house to get to the higher point of ground, which is just up in the cul-de-sac, up a bit higher. The water was almost up to my waist, even higher, and it was the most cold water I've ever been in. It wasn't that far that we had to go, but it felt really far.
You didn't really know what was in the water or what was on the ground either, so it was kind of scary walking through it because you weren't sure.
There was a pothole right outside of our driveway, and it was open. The manhole light came off. So if we were to fall into that, we'd probably just be gone. So.
We're looking through the neighborhood, and there's helicopters going over and boats going by. They eventually told us the current was too strong to get the boats in where we were, so that's where they decided to use the helicopter. Picked us up 4 at a time and just shuttled us outside of the neighborhood so that we could be bused outside of town. We understood how much water was in the neighborhood because we were standing in it, but once we got up in the air in the helicopter and to look over and see basically your house looked like it was in the middle of what felt like almost like an ocean. As far as your eye could see, there was just water.
What John didn't know was his basement was flooded almost right to the ceiling, and that all of their contents were destroyed. Thankfully, his family was safe, and the first chance he got, he arranged to meet with them immediately.
Right away, the car doors flew open and the girls came running over and you know, gave me a big hug. Cassidy, my youngest, was really quite distraught.
I just ran to him and I started crying, and I broke down then. Jordan,
my oldest, was very quiet. I think still in shock, but Cassidy was pretty upset. Yeah, we had a pretty teary hug there, and actually I'm tearing up thinking about it.
It was almost kind of relieving, and you weren't as upset about the things that you lost because you knew that the people that you cared about were okay.
It was pretty emotional at the time, but again, I knew they were okay, and I knew I had to get back to work. I knew I had a job to do, and they understood that.
This whole area was flooded. They were getting around by boats, trying to make sure everyone was alive, everyone can get out. I don't think anyone can imagine it happening until it happens to you. I can't imagine coming home days after all this water and opening the door because you want to get something out of your house. Everyone wants to get something. In many areas, the government was still not allowing people to enter their homes, but John and Gillian were lucky. Their subdivision was designated safe to return.
I knew why we weren't allowed back because I was the one that was not letting people back, but I wanted to be back. You know, everybody wants to be back. You want to go home, you want to see your stuff, you want to see your house. You know, you knew there was nothing you could do, but you want to see it. From the front, it looks okay. I didn't think, you know, I thought, hey, You know, we fared pretty good. How bad can this be? As you come through my front door, our stairwell to the basement is right there. It's a big open entry, and right there in the stairwell, it was water right up to the top almost, and really goopy mud, river silt. It looked like chocolate pudding. I'll never eat chocolate pudding again. That's basically what covers the entire town. You know, now some places more, some places less, but that's on everything.
Everyone out there will assume it's just mud. It's not just mud. What was floating in the water? Well, what I knew was in the water, there were calves upside down with their hoofs floating out of the water. There was a lot of sheep, dead sheep. And the #1 insurance claim in every single house in this area was sewage backup. So you put all those ingredients together, and what do you have? Dirty water, which goes to the mud.
The neighborhood was just caked full of cracked, dry mud. The basement was full of mud, and it had taken out drywall, and it moved studs. It had just basically taken our basement and just stirred it up.
If it wasn't for the thousands of volunteers that came in and helped the people in trouble, where would they be?
And that was one of the biggest things. The day we were cleaning the basement, shoveling the muck out, there were people all over helping me. And people would just show up and say, hey, what do you need? Well, we need, and away they went. No thank yous required, no payment required. They came, they went. On to the next one. All these people came to help us, and we don't know who they are, and I don't think we'll ever know who they were. But it was awesome, you know. Just really stripped the house, stripped everything, stripped the carpet, stripped the ceiling, stripped the walls, threw out the furniture, threw out everything we had into a big pile down here, and you don't realize how much is in your house till you tear it all out and put it outside. So we just kind of came out our door here with the wheelbarrows full of muck as we shoveled it and dumped it in. So you can see there's one of my work boots over there, and I'm guessing there's probably 5 feet of muck in there now that's all settled in, and it's full of house stuff. I got my grandfather's service medal from the war is in there somewhere. I'm gonna eventually get in there, I think, and maybe try to sift through it or something. There's a couple other small keepsakes I'd really like to find, so it's in there somewhere. I don't know.
We couldn't really clean out all the items and tear out the basement and, you know, have them come back to not knowing what happened to all their stuff. And, you know, the girls had to face that fact that, you know, all the stuff that I once had is in this pile of garbage now.
After 2 weeks, the water in John and Gillian's basement was finally gone. It had to be stripped bare. Insulation, ductwork, windows, and drywall were all removed. Everything, right down to the framing. Wow, it's looking really good, isn't it?
It is.
Last time I was here, it was still quite wet.
Yeah, it's still quite wet.
You have coated lumber, which I've always bragged about. We should be using it. Pink wood, which I really love. It's fire rated, mold resistant. The other coated lumber is also mold resistant. But see, that's a plus. That means it's not going to mold. But if you keep it underwater long enough, everything's going to mold. So really fast remediation, getting everything out. Now, they've sprayed everything. They literally did a power wash on everything, didn't they?
We power washed this 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
So I can smell it. It's actually quite clean down here.
Yeah, it smells great.
Compared to some of our neighbors' houses that we've been in, the air quality seems much better in here.
John and Gillian's home, it actually is a Holmes approved home. So it's at my minimum code that I'm trying to spread across the country by using smart products, you know, fire resistant, mold resistant, and that comes to lumber, that comes to drywall. One thing we've learned about this is after the flood, it was easier to clean it. Really, the basement's in great condition. The foundation's good, everything else is good, and it's just gonna take a little time to put it back together again. But what do you gotta do? You need to fix all the electrical. You need to check the gas lines. You need to fix everything to do with the HVAC, the hot water heater, not just the drywall and the studs. How about the static pressure of moisture against the foundation once you pull the water out? You still have amazing amounts of pressure against the walls. Air tests, mold. Is it safe to work in the house? This is going to take time. This is something you can't do overnight. I'll be working with a local builder, Ryan Armstrong. He's actually one of the guys who cares about building better. In fact, Ryan built John and Gillian's house and rushed to their subdivision just after the flood.
The emotions were incredible. There's tears, there was injuries, there's ambulances, there was police officers, there was chaos. And I just went on this quest, and 10 days later, I looked up. And, you know, we'd done some damage. We had no power, I brought in generators. We had no fans, we had no dehumidifiers, I brought those in. Needed trash removed, I handled that. We got trucks, we got loaders. We did everything that we could as builders. We had resources and we had people willing to help.
Ryan's connection to the community runs pretty deep. I mean, his own house was under construction and badly water damaged, but he left it aside, brought his crew house to house to help clean out everyone's basements. He also helped organize the thousands of volunteers that came to help out.
And John's saying, you know, there could be a war medal anywhere in here. Well, I'm telling you, it's a needle in a haystack when you have that much mud. And again, he kept saying, it doesn't matter, it's just a piece of metal. You know, me being ex-military, I know that's not true. I know that's not true.
The whole range of emotion goes through you. You feel real sad for yourself and, you know, why me? But then you think, well, there's people in a lot worse, you know, situations than me, so.
John and Gillian's subdivision of Montrose is on the south side of High River. Across town on the north side is Hampton Hills. It's one of the many areas that were hit during the flood. 3 weeks after the flood, the waters finally receded. Residents returned to inspect the damage while pumps worked overtime to get rid of the water inside their homes.
I'm in Hampton Hills. I'm going to show you the difference between a Holmes approved home and a house that wasn't built with that specification. All right, let me show you a house that was completely submerged in the flood. This one actually, it's pretty bad. What I can't show you is I can't show you very much lumber because it's all gone. And it was so rotten, sucked up everything, whereas, you know, if you had, you know, coated lumber, it resists a lot of the you know, the soaking up of the different pathogens and water and stuff like that. If you look, you'll see almost like a dark color on everything. That's rot. The resins that go in these are water-based, so when you introduce water to them, they dissolve, and thus you create a weaker structure. I mean, there's actually floor buckling upstairs, like areas of the floor that are buckling. And so what that's telling you is that there's some kind of expansion that's gone on in the floor, and it's literally starting to buckle up. John and Gillian's basement is built to the Holmes approved home spec. They have coated joists. That means that their joists can resist water penetration for a lot longer period than a standard uncoated joist. And the funny thing about them is they cost the exact same amount as an uncoated joist, literally. There's the coating, which is baked on, especially pink wood. It's not allowing the mud to cling to the actual framing, and it's not allowing water to penetrate. And so mold cleanup is way quicker. You know, resistance to moisture on the floor systems, that's prevented a lot of structural issues, tons of structural issues. Quicker rebuild, back to life normal, dries out faster, and call it 20K less, 20 grand less in property damage. How can you beat that?
I met a lot of people, heard a lot of stories, and everyone wants and needs help. I get it. This is scary, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Holy cow. I've never seen that many colors of mold. There's the actual water line. Yeah. That's the actual water line. You see how perfect that is across that wall? That's how much water was in here. So that says the water was here. And then it went down quickly to this amount. And then it stayed for a while. Because that's why it's really dirty here.
3 weeks.
That's the thing. Wow. That means every single house on this street looks like this. Yep. We actually breathe approximately 18,000 spore counts of mold in 1 cubic meter of airspace every single day outside. We're breathing it in, but it's acceptable levels. It's what our bodies are used to. Now, when we have more mold spores inside the home, and that's what happens when we have mold buildup. This is an organic product. This is paper on the drywall, the organic lumber that's in behind it if you're not using coated lumber. Mix the moisture with that. That's the 2 food groups that mold needs to grow. Water, organic. What mold is going to do when you breathe it in, because you can't see it, it's just going to make you feel like you have a cold. Your eyes are going to water, you're going to sneeze a lot, you're going to cough a lot. And if it's too consistent, and there's a lot of mold in the air, which in any of the flood zones there is, that's when it can get further, and that's when it gets bad. If you get the mold infection inside your lungs, then you have a mold lab inside your lungs, and chances are you will not survive that. So I don't want to put it as a scare tactic. What you need to know is, how does it grow? What can it do? What are the signs? And what should you do about it? These houses are completely no good. They're full of mold. Everything they own is done. What do you do? How do you restart? You've lost everything.
A year ago, bought this house with my wife and my 4 kids, and you know, it was our dream house. It was something we've worked hard to get. And now it's nothing. I upgraded a trailer and sent my wife and kids out of this. And it's just hard. They're there, I'm here, because I don't want them here to see this, to see their dad, their tough guy, like this.
I've learned to just be grateful for the small things in life and don't take things for granted, because people say it's just stuff, but in the end of the day, once you've gone through something like that and you've lost everything, it's not just stuff anymore. It's like a part of you that's gone. So it's just kind of like be grateful for what you have, because when it's gone, it's gone.
And just hold on to like the memories of the things that you had, because all that stuff you can get replaced, but you still have all the memories of it.
Here you got people that shouldn't even be in here, and they're trying to salvage and fix their place. And I don't think they truly understand. I physically drove to many areas in Calgary and witnessed the devastation. And I gotta tell you, the only way that I know I can do what I can do, and that's to educate everyone. Here's what you need to know. Here's how you need to follow it. Let's talk about mold. How many people here think their houses have mold that have been soaked? Okay, I want to ask you a question. How do we clean it? You're not even supposed to touch it. The rule of thumb, anything over 10 square feet must be cleaned by the abatement company.
So that's the big concern here is health. We want to make sure that it's safe, that the mold is, if there is mold, that it's gone, that our air is good. I don't want to bring my girls back in here to a sick home.
Way too many families have not done an air test inside their home. And that's why when it comes to anything to do with a flood, you must test the air quality of your home to confirm it matches outdoor air quality. If it doesn't, get out. Measuring the spore count in the outside air gives the technician a base number. Then he takes readings on the main floor and, most importantly, the basement.
Now we'll seal it up and do our other tests and send it off to the lab.
You brought me a toy.
I did.
This is a
digital moisture meter.
So it's saying about 30%.
Yeah, I definitely want to get the level to about 15% or so.
The reason we're seeing everyone jumping and trying to get their place back to normal is because their world has been turned upside down, and I get it. They want to get back to that normal life. You know, pretend this didn't happen or just try and get over it. This is only going to cost you down the road. If you think you can close your place in that fast, you can't, and you will mold. The neighbors across the street, their basement's already drywalled back in again.
And I have coated lumber. I've run dehumidifiers and fans for 6 weeks, and I'm still not ready.
And they're closed in. You know what happens when you do that?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get mold growth anywhere from 24 hours to 7 days.
If it's still wet, and you go ahead and re-insulate, put that vapor barrier back up, re-drywall it, all you're doing is doing this, putting a bag around it and completely closing it in, so now it's just gonna continue to grow. Yeah. If the moisture content is too high, they will be doing it again.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're actually gonna have more to do. I think we're gonna have probably close to 60, 70% to just redo at some point. My concern is, at what point does somebody have to die until we start doing this? Because people can die, you know that, right?
You know that actually nothing happens until someone dies.
Exactly.
That's when all hell breaks loose.
Right.
But it takes someone to die before we go, hey, I think we need to make a change. You can't close it up. And this is all about a rush. This is about a rush world that we live in right now, where we're not communicating enough, we're not giving the right information enough, and people aren't paying enough attention to find out that information. And those who just continue that rush, they're gonna pay the price. When you've had 6 or 7 feet of water in your basement, there's no question, all of your mechanicals have to go.
Why do we replace all the mechanical in the house? I mean, it's real simple. Modern mechanical is got all these bells and whistles now. I mean, it's super efficient. With super efficiency and electrical switches comes circuit boards, resistors, you name it. It's just like dipping your cell phone in the swimming pool. If you do that, it's done. It's the same with your furnace, it's the same with your hot water tank, and it's the same with your electrical panel. We went in there and we replaced it all. You can't expect it to operate properly. When mud goes in there, water goes in there.
After the panel gets wet, with your hot bars underneath, anything, a little bit of oxidization, the buildup, you know, could cause arcing, flashing, easily tripped, obviously a hazard.
I'm seeing contractors around here going in there with an air hose and cleaning it all out, switching it on and saying, hey, you don't need to replace it. At the end of the day, you need to educate yourself, you need to replace it all. So this is a 98% efficient furnace?
That's correct.
So can we get anything more efficient than this on the market?
No. So we removed the old one, we've raised the new one off the floor for potential of a flood again.
You can do a lot of things, little things, no money at all, to just protect your equipment.
Now that the furnace was ready, the next job was to reinstall the doors, the windows, and with the basement sealed up, the furnace could help bring the moisture level down below 15%. You can see that the water's actually penetrated the bottom sill plate of the window, but because it's coated lumber, it didn't harm it. Little things that we can do. Rewrap it, reinstall the window, respray foam. The paper itself, the building wrap, rain can't get through it, but it can breathe, right? So we want it to breathe vertically, but on the bottom, this is where water can sit. If water leaks on the side, it comes down and will sit here. And it can usually always rots out the bottom sill. So if you have a non-penetrable source or 100% non-breathable, it's not going to get in there. It's not going to run up the structure. Always treat it like it's going to leak. Protect it from the possibilities. We're going to finish up the hardy siding on the outside of the house, get it back to the way it was looking, make sure everything is nice and watertight, yet breathable underneath it.
But this bottom side at core vent, you see how we got all this mud in here? Yeah, so this is a little bit worse than I anticipated. Up here, down there a little bit better. Weird mud moves in mysterious ways, but yeah, this is core vent. This is the bottom strip of the installation. But the silt actually plugs this up. Yeah, this all got to be replaced. There's no way I can actually fix that. So if you had just a standard vinyl siding and you didn't have this gap behind here, right? This gap allows air to flow. It was originally designed for airflow, as well as if you got a leak, say, at that window up there, if the siding's sitting against the wall, then it will impede the flow of water. Water won't be able to escape, and it'll take longer for it to dry out, and or it may never dry out, and thus damaging your home, right?
It's one of the houses that weren't affected on the outside from the flood, and I'm talking about mold.
If you try to control Mother Nature, she will always win. So we give her the ability to flex her muscles, and that's what this product's really about.
Something's spinning.
A tornado warning is continued for Municipal District of Foothills near Okotoks and DeWinton.
If the tornado comes in, what flood? So to be honest with you, I don't know if we should actually be standing here because I just got a text that a tornado touched down at the airport, and it was probably the one that we looked at. But this is totally wild.
Things are changing, folks, and we need to be ready for it when it happens.
The planet's warming.
That's it.
And as long as it warms and we have those heavy-duty hot temperatures, hot means cold, that's what creates the massive thunderstorms out there. All the seminars I do around the world, I ask all the people in the audience, okay, I can build a house that won't burn, it won't blow down, it won't fall down, tornadoes will be unhappy with it. No matter what, it won't mold. Do you want that house? And not one person said no. And I said, would you be willing to pay more money for that house, and not a lot, instead of a new kitchen or a new bathroom? And all the answers was absolutely yes.
So Mike Holmes and I, the other day, we were talking about building houses on stilts or piers. I'm driving around town and I couldn't even believe my eyes. I come up on a house that has stilts. This is a fiveplex. 5 families live in this project. The house is raised up. In this particular case, the cars are parking underneath. That's fine. We can make these garages, we can do whatever. The watermark here, I was told, was just about at these downspouts. The water just came and gone. Yes, it moved a little bit of the gravel around. Yes, there's gonna be a little bit of property damage. That's inevitable. Now, center of the structure is the mechanical. Now, this is the lifeblood of the house. Okay, worst case scenario, you lose a furnace, a hot water tank, big deal. You don't have foundation problems, you don't have mold, you don't have anything. This is an area that was hit hard with floods. This is a guy that was fed up with having to rebuild his property. He was just sick and tired of it. This guy is now the rock star. He's sitting on his deck having a mint julep watching the flood go by. He didn't have to do anything. That's what we're talking about.
What we want to do is get that moisture out of the basement. Probably took about another week, a week and a bit, but by then we got it down to at least 15% moisture content, not just in the framing, but in the concrete foundation as well. Time to close up. That's simple. Bring in the insulation after all electrical, plumbing's run. We put in the wall-tight eco, spray everything tight, get the drywall up, plaster. When it's ready, it doesn't take long.
Conventional insulation, your fiberglass reduces in size and starts to settle as soon as you start to move in. Lo and behold, within 5 years, you don't have the insulation value. This stuff always maintains its memory. It's always an R20. It never goes away.
Number one is the R value. Number two is you've got a vapor barrier, air barrier, all built in one shot. When the big flood hit in 2005, a lot of those houses, once they did the remediation, we went in, sprayed foam, and I've gone back since then. In this flood, they pulled off the drywall. They've literally pressure washed the spray foam. You can't even get a moisture reading past like a 1/4 inch of the foam. So you let that 1/4 inch dry out. You don't have to re-insulate it. You're not dealing with wet insulation. You're not dealing with the mold issues. I mean, there's just a lot of positives to using spray foam in those flood-prone areas.
If we choose to build in a flood zone, we should build off the ground. Use nothing but coated lumbers, mold-resistant drywall, and as a matter of fact, everything should be mold-resistant. Just makes sense to me. If your house was built on the ground and it flooded, even though you use mold-resistant drywall, it's still saturated. It must be replaced. The good side of this is you don't have the mold spores flying through the house. It just gets wet. This is looking really good. We're on the final stretch, which is a happiness, because what is this now? It's about 2.5 months, all to make sure that we can finish this basement and not close in moisture. The cabinet guys are in here. Not only are they doing cabinets, they're doing doors, they're doing baseboard, trim, and getting all the windows done. This is perfect. You know what, I'm a big fan of carpet, as much as people don't realize you should put it in your basement. It's easily replaced in case there's a flood. You can get hypoallergenic carpets. You want to make sure that it's breathable, it's good for the family, and when I say breathable, I mean the carpet and the underpad. We want that floor to breathe. Little things that we're doing just on the inside of the mechanical room. What you don't see is that there has been a spray put up in there, and that's a fire spray. So that's actually a coating that'll go over top of this, and you put about 2 inches on it, and it's a fire stop in a bulkhead area that really, we gotta follow these things, because what if a fire actually built up inside the bulkhead? It can easily go up inside the house, but if you put in this fire repellent, it actually works very well. So drywall's about to be finished in here. We have the stair guy coming in today. He's going to be finishing off the rails. We're actually gonna pull down the rails from the top here and go new rails all the way down, and you might as well complete it, right? It's just like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna make it brand new again, give it back to the homeowners. It's gonna be the way it should be, right? Like it didn't flood. That's the idea. The final stretch is always crazy, getting the carpet in place, even setting it up that John and Gillian don't even know furniture's going in place. Guys working from morning till night. I'm feeling good. It's coming.
We're just really looking forward to, you know, getting back into our home, starting to live as a family a little bit more normal again.
I'm most looking forward to getting back in the house and kind of just getting my room started up again and kind of having my own place to sleep, because right now we both have to like share beds and stuff in the trailer.
It's great. I mean, I can't wait, and it's gonna be nice, but it's the global for me because I'm involved with the community with my job. And
This is not going to stop for you for quite a while.
no, and the people that are still waiting, I feel, you know, it's really a hard place to be because you're excited. I mean, I'm excited to have this finished, but I feel really bad because there's people that aren't as fortunate I am.
This is about a $100,000 fix. That's not a small ticket item, and that doesn't even include furniture. That's just repairing the basement. And again, I must state this. This isn't just so much about how much this costs, but I will tell you that the people that close these basements up before they're dried out properly are into a much higher number because they did pay to fix it, and they're gonna pay it again to take it down and do it right.
There shouldn't even be a name for that.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Well, I understand everyone's been staying in a hotel.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's really good because the guys have been working extremely hard trying to get this done for today to get you back in the house. Are you excited?
I think we're just ready to get in there.
Like this done and over with? Let's get back home.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. All right, then, let's do just that. Let's walk in. I can't wait to actually show you. Hope you like the color purple.
Oh my gosh, the first thing I noticed was how soft the carpet is. Oh my gosh! Wow. Oh my gosh.
Holy smokes.
So Cassidy, Jordan, I understand this is pretty well your area. John, you like to watch TV down here?
I do.
There's furniture down here, isn't there?
Yes, that's a huge surprise.
We'll decorate it, make it look like it's a home. God forbid you know, they come down here and they have to just throw an air mattress or sleep on the ground, right?
You can tell we've opened up this area here, put in new rails, because the wall used to come right down here, right?
I love that.
Changed some bulkheads and just opened it up a bit. Added a few lights because I understand there were some of the things you wanted. But behind all of this, anything that was restudded was used pink wood, and that's going to be a fire rating, so I'm big on this. And the whole basement was actually spray foam with Wall-Tite Eco. So you're gonna find it in the winter down here. You're not gonna believe the difference when we do a thermal break over a thermal barrier. Cassidy, did you want to see your bedroom? You do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. So pretty.
Oh my gosh, this looks so good.
Is it you?
Yeah.
It is.
I don't know what to say.
We'll just say it's cool.
It's really cool.
Want to touch the bed, feel the bed?
Yeah. She wants to feel that pillow. I can see it already.
It's really comfy.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Cass.
Oh my gosh.
No way. That looks so good.
There's so much storage in here.
Oh gosh.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That is so perfect.
Well, we understood that both of you had a little battle of doing your makeup in the morning, so now you have both. You can work on, one can work on this side, one can work on that side. And the shower? Look at the shower.
Yeah,
That looks amazing.
Jump in.
That looks so cool. Oh my God.
This is awesome.
Using all the right products, everything in your basement has been nothing but environmentally friendly, energy efficient, and using all the Dietra and Curdy on the walls to make it 100% watertight is the way we do things. I can see Mom and Dad saying, okay, you guys are moving upstairs, we're moving down.
You go.
Oh my gosh. It looks so open in here.
It feels bigger.
It feels so much bigger.
Yeah, that's really
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. It just feels so cozy and I love that.
Very comfortable, yes?
Yeah.
Very.
I think removing that wall too really
Opens it up.
It really opens it up, yeah.
And allows all that light to come back in. That's what we want. The door's brand new, the windows were taken out and totally replaced, making sure all the jambs were good. rewrapping watertight, and so much work was done on the outside of the house. Want to look at the furnace room?
I do. That's my room. Oh, there we go.
The furnace has been brought up off the ground and very neatly done. All the gas lines were checked because when that wave knocked that door down and came in, it just smashed everything. Not only were they checked or removed and redone, all the electrical throughout was totally pulled and replaced. We did spray the wall tight eco, so that requires us to come in and drywall and finish this room to make it a fire rating. And that just makes it probably easier for you to turn this into storage on this side.
Storage, you bet.
Not in front of the furnace. Too many people put stuff in front of the furnace. That's a no-no.
I did, yeah.
At least after today, you guys can move on.
Well, we've got the peace of mind of knowing that it's been done properly and it's safe. I mean, everything's beautiful, but before something's beautiful, it has to be safe.
Right now, there's a few people I'd love you to see, so we're just going to get up and go outside for a minute, okay?
Some familiar people.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
It should be the other way around. Really. You guys have done more than I ever expected.
You guys have done crazy work here, so thank you.
You know, I know when we were cleaning up, we looked high and low for your grandfather's war service medal.
Yep.
Medals they're put on a wall, and when you look at a medal, you just start remembering things. Whether it's a grandfather's medal or it's your medal, you start remembering what you went through. I couldn't find the medal. That's the truth.
Yep.
But I did the next best thing. I got a medal. I had a little picture of your grandfather done up, and a medal. A lot of people don't know this, but you know, John's grandfather was a big part of raising him as well, and I think that's where, you know, a lot of the emotion comes from. You know, it was his hero. I'd like to present it to you, Airman. If you could stand at attention for me, sir. All right. On behalf of Lifestyle Homes, I'd like to present you with your grandfather's war medal in his service to this great nation. You know, ex-military guys, they know it has to be presented a certain way. And in my mind, it has to end with a salute. And a salute is a way of just honoring each other.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. Like,
no problem.
I think we should have a group hug.
I think we should all have a big group hug. I'll start by hugging Mike. Come on.
Group hug.
Good job, everybody. Round of applause.
It's been a hard experience, but if you really gotta sum it all up, it was a really good experience as well.
Like having Mike here too to help not only educate us, but hopefully educate a lot of other people in town. You know, here we are today. We're back in our house. There's still lots of people in this community that aren't in their house, haven't even started yet. They don't know what to do. So by having Mike, you know, hopefully the word gets out now. You know, be it us telling people or them seeing this and knowing what they're going to need to do to remediate properly and then safely build.
The flood has just shown how poorly we're actually building and not thinking ahead for the environment, for the world, for the planet that's already heating every single year, getting hotter and hotter. More storms, more hurricanes, more tornadoes, more floods. And are we going to make the changes or not? What are the changes? Building better, building smarter, building for the environment, and doing it right the first time.
Thanks, sir. No, thank you.
My pleasure.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, I know how much.
Give me 5. Are you a contractor in training?
Well, I'm really smart at building decks.
Are you smart at building decks?
Let's make it right.
For more information about this show, please visit hgtv.ca.